Go for it.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Today we're going to start a workshop on how to present your project. Before we begin, I'd like to share with you this QR code that you can use for live translations. I will be conducting the workshop in English. So for anyone that needs to scan the QR code, I'll give you a few more seconds. I don't see any phones out, so we will begin.
Got one.
Oh, we've got one. Oh no, we're good? Okay. Cool. Hi everyone. My name is Julie. I'm a startup coach. Right now I specialize in helping a lot of different startups create their pitches for investors. But I'm here today to help you determine how you can actually do that for yourself in today's hackathon. I'll be walking you through what the requirements are for the judging criteria, and then we'll go on to introduce you to a template that you can use yourself to make it a lot easier for you to try and create your project. Cool. This is a QR code that you can use to download the template that I will be presenting to you today. Please use it to save yourself time. The judges will not be scoring you on how pretty your slides are, so using what you already have is going to be a real smart way to save some time for you. I'll give you some time to do this. And if you still don't have it after the workshop, no problem, I can also share you the link. All right, so we will move on. Your presentation is 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes to present, and we're going to be trying to stay very strict to this so that we can be fair for all of the presenters. What I will say from last year's hackathon, some people did go over and were asked to stop. So please, when you practice rehearsing for your presentation, just know how many words, how much time, what amount of content you're able to cover within 5 minutes. Okay, we don't need to read all of the things in gray, but essentially it's 7 different sections that we be going through today that you also need within your whole submission. And the presentation and the submission is tomorrow at 12 p.m. There's 4 main scoring criteria, so keep this in mind because the judges will be using numbers to attribute how many points that you have for each category. If you have information that's outside of this, it actually doesn't have a space to give you points. So try to optimize your content to be able to address these 4 points. These are also in your package, your participator package, so it's also there for you if you need it. Let's just go through each slide because I think that's the best way for us to go through the workshop. So title slide, which means that you should have your company name in where we typically have the pink right here. The subtext explaining the mission. So what is your solution, right? So let's say you're doing a map for foreigners that is going to be a lot more foreigner friendly than neighbor maps because we know that Google Maps is not as foreigner friendly. So perhaps it's just, Google Maps for foreigners in Korea. It's a one sentence that makes it really easy to explain what you're doing. If you have a logo, go ahead and put that in there as well. Introduce your team, right? Who are they? If you have pictures, smiling faces, all the best. This is also when you can share perhaps what your team is lined up to do. Sometimes you might just have techies, sometimes you might just have designers, sometimes you might have a well-rounded team. That also really sets the tone of how your presentation is going to advance, and also gives the judges a perspective of, oh, let's see how you, if you had any gaps in the skills in your team, how you might have actually tried to approach closing that gap. So let the judges know who you are so they can really appreciate who is behind the really great project. Okay, so along the bottom here, what you can also keep in mind is I'll be showing the different 4 criteria that I showed you you'll be judged on, but I'll be highlighting in white what is most likely being addressed within the slide. So when we approach any type of pitch, we want to start off with a problem. We start off with the problem because humans are just wired to listen to a story. So if we just said, oh, we're just going to create a map and, this is the way that we just set up our tech, but, oh, right, I forgot to tell you about people need this because, actually, no, let me tell you about the solution. Everything just gets really confusing, right? You don't even know what I'm saying at this point. So for us to start off with a really effective pitch, we can also start off with the story of ourselves, right? I came to Korea 2 years ago. I didn't know the language, but I loved the culture the last time that I was visiting here, and I wanted to make the most out of it. And I tried to open Google Maps, and there was not enough information. It was so frustrating because I wanted to enjoy my time here, and I actually wanted to become a part of this culture, but there was absolutely nothing around. That's why I thought it was really important to create something out of this. Right? If you kind of show that story, show where you're coming from, identifying that pain point, that really works. And then you can expand it to say, 2% of the population in Korea are foreigners who can't read Korean. So we know that there is a bigger market out there. It's not just my own problem. I know that there are so many millions of other people facing the same issue. Okay? The style that you'll be seeing of the slides themselves are very Silicon Valley style. So in North America, it's very less words, right? More white space, which means there's just nothing, a lot of blank space on the slides, and a key element of what you're saying in the script. So when you're talking, right, you're just talking about a story, and this is going to be bringing that main point home. Okay, here's when we get to what is going on, right? So let's say we're trying to explain the process of what we understand our users to be going through. So if we've got the first step is foreigners will be trying to find a way to go to a restaurant, right? They'll first try to do a Google search, and then they'll try to click on a Google Maps link, and then they'll be misdirected because they are finding that the results are not there or just not complete. They'll be going to another website, perhaps Naver, and finding another frustration because they can't understand the Korean. And then, of course, somehow finding their way to the restaurant and finding that it was closed, finding that it was not the menu that they wanted, and just becoming very dissatisfied. In the visual here, we label it in each step, but in the red, we highlight where that real frustration is and that key point of where we're going to come in. That's why we created XYZ, right? So this is our solution in dramatic sentence form. This is where we talk about, there was so many problems, but now, get ready, because I'm going to tell you something very exciting. Right? Very short and to the point, because we will be walking through a demo. Right? The demo should be something that's pre-recorded, and you can play it on video, or you can feel free to plug in your computer or your phone to give a live demo of your product. I would recommend that you prepare how the user is going to experience your product so that you can really show your logic as to how you created it, right? Opening, logging in, doing a search, finding something, looking for reviews, and then going to it, right? That would be a really good way for you to show a screen and what your solution is all about. This is where we get into the tech part of it. So what's your code? This is going to be important for the judges to evaluate your code, also see that it makes sense, and also aligns with the tech, the demo that you have shown. And then after this, it's really going to be about explaining what your solution is, and then also I'll be showing you after doing a reflection. But for the purposes of this slide, it's going to be what are the things that you really wanted to focus on. So perhaps it's language, right? In the case of that map, not everyone is going to be speaking in English, right? A lot of foreigners are speaking different languages. Perhaps you prioritize the top 3 foreign languages, and that is a number 1 feature that you included. So much like that, you can identify where you're really focused on. Here is your tech stack. So what's your tech stack? Why did you use it? Why did you choose it? Sometimes it is because you have the gaps in the team, or perhaps it's just because you have the strengths in the team. And then, like I shared with you, this is where we talk about the reflection. So we had, less than 24 hours or just around 24 hours just to work on our technology, which is not the final product, it's just the start, right? And perhaps on the way, you found things that were, maybe we shouldn't have started this way, or you got better ideas as you went on. Or perhaps you realized that it's becoming like something that already existed. And these are all really, really good learning points. So what could those be? So that if you were to continue on, what would you improve on? And at the end, what is your vision, right? So perhaps you want to create a more connected world for foreigners, or perhaps you want to extend the culture of Korea to foreigners. And what's that ultimate vision that you're going for? So a lot less about a technical perspective, but more of that social good. You've had workshops earlier today, hopefully that you've also participated in, on what's that impact and what are you looking to go and accomplish with your solution from there forward. And then you just thank everyone for your time. There are, in that QR code that you scanned, there are a lot of other templates that you can try to use for your benefit if you ever need it. But all to say, I think the best slides are the slides that have maybe 2 points to 4 points max. Any slide with 1 point on it is when you want to drive that impact. So you saw that one visionary statement at the end, and also when we introduced our solution near the start. So less words the better, and the more story the better. And in the middle, of course, because this is a hackathon, we do want to make sure that our tech is true and valid. That's it. Any questions? No? Clear as mud? Okay, I'll be around for a few more minutes, so if you guys have any questions, whether it relates to presentations here today with a hackathon or presentations just outside of this context, please feel free to come up to me and ask. Thank you.